I don't know why I'm telling this now. Maybe because the nights have been getting longer lately. Or maybe because, even after everything, there's still something watching me. But before I jump into what happened, let me tell you how it all started. My name is Marianne. I'm 60 now, and I've lived most of my life in Willow Creek, Oregon. One of those towns that's too small to keep secrets, but where everyone's learned to pretend nothing strange happens. I married David when I was just 20. We'd been together for less than 6 months when he proposed. He'd just graduated from law school and was all excited about the new phase of his life. Me, I only had a high school diploma. My parents thought women didn't need more than that. The world back then was like that, and much worse. David was a wonderful guy, caring, romantic, never raised his voice to me, but if there's one thing I learned quickly, it's that when you marry someone, you don't just marry the person, you marry the whole family. And in David's case, that meant marrying his mother and his sister. Carla, David's mother, Mrs. Evelyn, had advanced diabetes. She depended on him for everything: doctor, pharmacy, groceries. And even though she had 3 other sons, guess who did everything? That's right, my husband. At first, I tried to understand. She was a widow and sick. But soon it turned into an obsession. We cancelled plans, trips, even my appointments because of her. And every time I tried to talk to him, it turned into a fight. But the real problem was Carla. Carla was the type of person who looks at you like she knows something you don't. You know that look? It wasn't contempt. It was ... superiority. Like I was a mosquito she tolerated out of politeness. From the first meeting, it was clear that she hated me, never called me by my name. It was always her or David's wife. During family dinners, and there were many, I smiled, pretended everything was fine. But it was like sitting at a table with a snake with watchful eyes. Carla had been married twice, 2 husbands, 4 children, and a bunch of rumors surrounding her. Her house, a mystery. There was a room on the 2nd floor that she kept locked. Not even her children could enter. "It's my meditation space," she said. But no one saw Carla praying, just locked up for hours in that room. Sometimes even during the wee hours of the morning. Then came the day I lost my filter. It was Mrs. Evelyn's birthday. We were all gathered, and David, of course, was going out of his way to please his mother. When Carla commented, with a venomous smile, that it wasn't easy to carry so much weight alone, I exploded. I said that she, as the eldest daughter, should help. That we were thinking about having a baby, and that David couldn't be his mother's nurse forever. What followed was silence. One of those silences that chill the air. Carla looked at me as if I had unearthed a corpse from the room. "You don't have the right to talk about my family like that," she said. "You're not one of us," and that was it. From that moment on, I ceased to be a tolerated presence and became a problem, an enemy, a target. The strangest thing. After that night, she started to be ... kind, too kind. After that argument at dinner, I expected Carla's silent hatred, those sideways glances, the whispered comments that barely hid poison. But instead, I received something much worse. Smiles, kindness. Carla appeared at my door a few days later, on a Saturday morning, with teary eyes and a lemon pie in her hands. "I wanted to apologize," she said. "Family is all we have. I didn't want there to be bad blood between us." It was the first time I'd seen Carla cry, or pretend to cry, I'd say now. But that day, amidst the hormones of my newly discovered pregnancy, I was moved. She put the pie on the table and said she had made it for me. I remembered you talked about your strange craving for lemon pie with alfalfa juice at the last meeting. She laughed. Pregnant women are a mystery, right? I ate it. Almost the whole thing. She didn't taste it. Said she didn't like lemon. From that day on, she became my shadow. She showed up almost every day, brought teas, gave me foot massages, said she wanted to be a good aunt from the start. And you know, I let her. I accepted it. But one thing bothered me. Carla no longer took care of her children. The boys spent entire days with their sick grandmother, while she spent hours with me. Something didn't add up. As the weeks went by, I began to have nightmares. The same dream, repeated night after night. It was always a man. A faceless man. He appeared at the foot of the bed, raising something, metallic, a dagger. The blade shone like wet silver. And then he attacked me. I felt the blade tearing my womb. I felt the heat of the blood. I saw my baby being ripped out of me. I would wake up screaming, crying, desperate. David thought it was anxiety. The doctors said the baby was fine, but the dreams came more and more vivid. As if I was there, as if it wasn't a dream, but a memory, of something that was yet to happen. Until it happened. In the 16th week, I woke up in the middle of the night, feeling a pain I can't describe. It was as if something had pierced my uterus, going all the way through. It wasn't cramps. It was like an incandescent iron cross forming inside me. Blood, a lot of blood. David rushed me to the hospital. My baby was already dead. The way the doctors looked at me said it all. They didn't understand what happened. Unexplained hemorrhage, that's what they said. I felt empty, not only physically. It was as if something had been forcibly ripped out of me, something sacred. Carla stopped showing up after that. Didn't send flowers, didn't call, didn't come. But the nightmares continued. A year passed. I tried to pick myself up. I went to therapy. I tried to smile, pretended I was fine. Victor told me that we should try again, that it was time to move on. And, little by little, I accepted the idea. In the second pregnancy, everything seemed calmer. Victor was more present, cautious. He showered me with affection and promised that nothing would go wrong this time. But then, Carla came back. Out of nowhere, with that same smile, that same forced kindness. She brought a set of blue baby clothes, a stuffed animal, and an apple and cinnamon cake. The excuse was always the same. I want to help. I want to be present. I hesitated, but I'm an idiot. I let her in, again. Gradually, everything was repeated. Kindness, gifts, constant visits, and, as if it were a re-recorded film, the nightmares returned. The man with the dagger, the pain, the blood. And in the 8th week, bleeding, pain. Another burning cross being drawn inside me. Another baby lost, and, again, Carla disappeared. This time, however, Victor was more attentive. He began to wonder if there was something more. And that's when his younger brother called, on any given night, saying something that made my blood run cold. Carla, She hurt Matthias. The boy entered her room, hidden. He said he saw some bizarre things. An altar, a doll. Pictures of you with needles. He's in the hospital. She hit him with an iron spoon. Victor went there. The boy had a fractured collarbone. But what he told was worse. Carla's forbidden room existed. It had an altar with a statue of a saint with an appearance, wrong. Around it, dozens of photos, family members, friends, but mine was in the center. On it, 2 pins crossed in the shape of a cross. And on the back, a dark, dry smudge. It looked like blood. That night, Victor came home pale. He showed me the picture. I fell to the floor. At that moment, I understood everything. Carla never wanted my friendship, never wanted to help. She wanted to destroy, and she used something ... old, something dirty, magic, not the kind you see in movies with brooms and pointy hats. It was real witchcraft, magic of hate, made with cemetery dirt and dried blood. It was Victor who suggested it. Let's go after someone who understands this. If there's a spell, there has to be a cure. And so we did. The woman lived in the middle of nowhere, literally. 3 hours of dirt road in the interior of New Mexico. Dry heat, dust in the air, and that kind of silence that seems to contain whispers. It was as if the world was on pause. When we arrived, I thought Victor had the wrong address. It was a tiny cabin, with windows covered by dark tapestries. No number, no sign of life. But as soon as we got out of the car, the door creaked open and she appeared. A woman so old that she seemed to have been carved from wood. Wrinkled face, grey eyes like a storm, and thin, almost bony fingers. She wore a black scarf tied over her grey hair and a hand-embroidered cotton dress. She didn't say hi. She just looked at me and muttered, "She marked you with an iron cross." And she wasn't alone. I ran out of air. I hadn't told anything yet. Victor froze. The old woman turned around, entered without calling, and we followed. Inside the cabin, everything seemed to have stopped in time. Thick candles, pots with herbs, wooden idols, images that seemed half saints, ... half demons. The smell was strong, but not unpleasant. Incense, wet earth, and something burnt. She pointed to a bed covered by a sheet stained with symbols embroidered in red. "Lie down," I obeyed. I could barely look at her without feeling a lump in my throat. The old woman pulled my dress up to my abdomen and placed the palm of her hand on it. Her eyes closed. She began to murmur in a language I didn't recognize, a guttural language, full of ch and dry rr sounds. Suddenly, she stopped. There's something alive in there, but it's not human. My stomach churned. She began the ritual. She lit herbs, anointed my temples with a thick oil, and pressed her hands against my stomach with so much force that I thought I was going to faint. The pain I felt was absurd. It was as if something sharp was being ripped out of me. I screamed. Victor held my hand, but didn't look. He was trembling. The old woman made a movement to pull something invisible, and at that moment I felt a sharp pain crossing my entire womb, as if an iron needle was being removed, exactly like in the nightmares. The sensation was identical. "One," she said, throwing nothing on the floor. "There's more." The second was worse. It was as if it crossed with the first inside me, forming that damned symbol. I writhed in pain. I cried, moaned, screamed. The witch didn't stop. She locked you with a seal, made a pact with something old, but not anymore. After pulling out the third Nedelius, there was a third eye lost strength. I felt as if something left me, not only physically, but spiritually. The witch wiped my sweat with an old cloth and said softly, "Now you can generate life again." She handed me a small statue of dark wood. It was a saint, but it didn't look like the ones we see in church. It was something ... rougher, less human. It's the Black Saint. You don't need to pray to her. Just light a candle every month. She doesn't want worship, only respect. If you do that, she'll become your shield. Before we left, I asked what would happen to Carla. The old woman didn't smile. She just said, "Whoever takes life from light loses what they have. The spell returns. It always returns." We drove home in silence. I felt exhausted, but light. As if, for the first time in years, my body was only mine. It took 7 months. 7 months since the ritual in the desert. 7 months since the old witch pulled the invisible needles from my womb. 7 months without nightmares, without blood, without the suffocating presence in the corner of the room. 7 months of peace. And then the phone rang. It was a known number, but not saved on my cell phone. When I answered, I recognized Victor's sister's voice. She was trembling, crying, talking too fast, mixing sentences. "It's Carla. She lost the baby." We froze. It wasn't the kind of call that brought relief. Not at all. I didn't wish that. I swear to God. But the news fell on me with a strange weight, too heavy to be just a coincidence, too light to call it justice. Victor's sister continued. She said that Carla's pregnancy was going well until the 5th month. That she was happy, vain, even unbearable with the preparations. But 2 nights ago, Carla started to feel sick. Severe pain, hemorrhage. The doctors said it was something unusual, a rupture, a kind of internal trauma, but without apparent cause. The baby was stillborn. When we hung up, Victor was silent for hours. Later that same night, something strange happened. I went to the room to put out the candle of the black saint, the one I lit on the first day of each month. But that candle, which always went out easily, simply, didn't want to go out. I blew it out once, twice, 3 times. Nothing. It danced, steady, as if it were breathing, as if it was staring at me, a small, living flame. On the 3rd blow, when the flame finally wavered, I heard a faint laugh behind me, freezing, but the room was empty. The next day, we found out more. Carla was in a state of shock. She didn't talk, she didn't eat. She said that she dreamed of needles crossing her belly, that she saw eyes in the dark, watching her room, that she heard a child crying behind the wall. The family thought it was grief, trauma, but I knew, Victor too. What she did to me returned, and it returned as the witch promised. Silent, exact, cruel. The following week, a fire partially destroyed Carla's room. It was not caused by candles or a short circuit. According to the fire department report, the fire seemed to start inside the mattress, at the exact spot where she slept. There were no victims, but the bed, the crib, the baby sheets, all turned to ashes. When Victor's mother called, I was ironing clothes. She spoke with a voice that seemed old, tired, defeated. "You knew about this, didn't you? That this was going to happen?" I didn't answer, I just hung up. This was the last time we had contact with them. Since then, Carla has disappeared from the city. Some say she moved. Others say she is hospitalized in a clinic. There are those who say she was seen wandering on a road near the desert, with hospital clothes and bare feet, murmuring the name of a child who was never born. Honestly, I don't know what's true, but every night I light my candle, and every night the flame dances, alive, as if saying, "The debt has been paid." For now, it's strange writing this. The sensation of closing something that was never really mine. But here we are. If you've read all the previous parts, you know that the evil that Carla wished on me that stole 2 children from me came back to her. That the black saint, through the desert witch, protected me. That a cycle was closed, or so I thought. But there's one thing I never told. On the first night I lit the candle, there in the desert, after the ritual, The old woman told me something that has been pounding ever since. Protection is not free. You didn't just invoke peace. You are also seen. I didn't understand what that meant at the time. In fact, I preferred to ignore it. But now I know. After Carla disappeared, my life seemed calm. My son was born strong, healthy, grew up, gave me grandchildren. But at certain times, specific nights, the candle changed. It didn't just burn, it moved. I know it sounds crazy, but I swear on everything that remains to me that I saw the flame spin on itself, as if something was trying to get out of it, as if an eye was blinking deep down. The last time this happened, 2 weeks ago, a new thing emerged. The flame went out on its own, without wind, without movement, pluffed, and in the next second, I heard soft knocks on my door. 3 taps, rhythmic.com exact. It was 3:03 in the morning. I got up, but didn't open it. I just pressed my ear to the wood. On the other side, I heard a breath. It wasn't heavy or panting. It was almost ... childish, like the sigh of a child trying not to cry. I stood there, frozen, feeling the wood vibrate. My heart was beating so hard, it hurt. And then I heard not from the door, but from inside my head. You called me first. I put out all the candles that day. I threw away the little altar. I buried the statue of the black saint in the yard. I spread salt on all the windows. I prayed, I promised God that it would end there. But, since then, the knocks have returned. Always at 3:03, always in groups of 3, always accompanied by the breath. Victor says I'm paranoid, that it's trauma, that it's memories haunting me. But I know what I did. And I know that, even if justice has been done, the entity that answered my call has not gone away. She was just waiting, waiting for my fear to return, waiting for me to light another candle, waiting for a new door to open, and maybe she's tired of waiting. Maybe, tonight, she won't knock. Maybe, she'll come in. I know I shouldn't tell this story, but if you're ever tempted to light a candle in the desert, if an old woman smiles at you with black teeth and eyes without reflection, if a flame dances alone and seems to look back, don't answer, don't thank, don't promise anything, because the darkness also listens.